Bitcoin price on the daily chart being very indecisive. I'm going to discuss kind of what I'm anticipating as it relates to this chart, especially in the short term, potentially some volatility involved. And we're also going to discuss Bitcoin going way higher than we think this cycle and maybe onward. And then Cardano, really, really crucial area on the Cardano weekly chart that I want to discuss. I really want to zoom out to get an idea of where I might even have some macro concerns if certain things happen, but what we're looking for bullish confirmation. So hit the subscribe, hit the like. Let's jump into the video. Before we dig into the Bitcoin charts, I want to start with this. This is a clip of Mark Cuban, historically not the most bullish on Bitcoin, really fast.
Bitcoin, there's even less you can do with it. At least I can look at my baseball card and go, ooh, that's my favorite player. That's Roberto Clemente. I can look at artwork and go,
not a fan of crypto, not a fan of Bitcoin, right? Seemingly. And he did this post the other day, and I want to go over a couple points because his tune is flipping, as many people are changing their tune lately. But what will drive the price of Bitcoin is lower tax rates and tariffs, which if history is any guide, and it's not always, will be inflationary. So this next part, though, is what I wanted to point out to you, because it's almost like what we've talked about over the years. You have someone like Mark Cuban, they're getting it now, but this just can't be highlighted anymore, especially at this time of just global macroeconomic events and how things are unfolding. How high can the price go? Way higher than you think. Remember, the market for BTC is global, and the supply has a final limit of 21 million Bitcoin with unlimited fractionalization. Keep that in mind as you consider what happens if, because of geopolitical uncertainty and the decline of the dollar as the reserve currency, Bitcoin becomes a safe haven globally. How familiar does that word look if you've kind of been in the crypto space for years now? Safe haven. Which means that Bitcoin could be what countries and all of us look to buy as a means to protect our savings. Insane to have, Mark Cuban coming out with this very this is foundational to Bitcoin, right? We've heard this for years, going from this kind of talking trash to this. And I think it's a really, really good reminder, though, whether, I feel like most of the stuff Mark Cuban puts out, I'm not really usually agreeing with. But whether you agree with him or not, what he said in that post, it applies to the macro just chart that we see here. And you can just see this, right? This applies to that. This is the growth of Bitcoin. And it's because these higher highs and higher lows, people recognizing it as kind of that safe haven, a savings account mechanism, kind of a protection, a hedge. These are all the things. So I think that's really important to just get a sense of and a reminder of, I should say, as we just look at the charts, and especially as we start digging into this. We have a setup. We're zoomed out on the daily. We're going back to like March. This is March back here. So it seems like it's such a long time, but this is nothing. This move is nothing. This is a daily chart. It's nothing compared to when you start zooming out and then you see the path that Bitcoin is on. So I just want to put that reminder there. One thing I just want to note before we do dig into that daily chart is this week is really, I'm just curious to see how this ends. 3 days, 10 hours now. Bitcoin wicking to the 20-week moving average. Bull market, as far as a bull market goes, as far as a parabolic all-time high, crypto's going crazy. The 20-week moving average around $65,400, $500. And this is like $1,000 from where Bitcoin is right now. This is a crucial key area on the Bitcoin chart. We need to start seeing higher highs and higher lows above that area. A similar look of that is how we exited the bear market. This is what we want to see, right? In the continued bull market. We got the bounce off of this area, the higher low Fibonacci is a really nice bounce, but are we going to continue consolidating in here before actually breaking the 20-week? That's my kind of longer term macro most important question for Bitcoin. But as we zoom in, we can get a sense of, all right, if we're watching the short-term charts, what's going on? Here it is. The biggest thing I wanted to discuss here is I want to see Bitcoin go higher, obviously. In the very short term, now that Bitcoin's broken above not only the 200 in red, the 20 in green, and the 50 in blue, we broke above all those moving averages. Good first step. Now let's start seeing support above those moving averages. And the first area for the last couple of days, Bitcoin barely seeing support around 64,000, right where Bitcoin is right now, above that 50. the biggest thing I want to talk about is, yeah, you know what? It would be nice to see Bitcoin continuation to the upper trend line. Let's see what happens at 70,000. That would be fun, right? Especially tracking that on X. People are kind of going crazy, approaching 70 again. The biggest thing I want to talk about, though, is, and we'll track that, but what happens if the 50-day moving average falls? I really am curious, because if we look at everything, right? So we have the chart, price chart, but we also have the RSI. There's, even in a continued upward trajectory, there's totally enough room for just a higher low somewhere on the RSI. And if that happens, you can see if Bitcoin momentum starts falling a little bit, we could put in a higher low on price. And that means we could be dipping back down into the lower 60s. We could test the 20-day moving average, the 200-day, which is right below 60,000 right now. And we have these bull market doors still just under where Bitcoin is. So are we going to get some type of higher low in this area? That RSI kind of consolidating again before going higher, right? You can just see right there, boom. What's going to happen? And I like to explore that more, because if we go up right now, I'll just enjoy it. But if we go down, I like to anticipate that, be ready for it, and actually say, you know what, that makes sense that that's actually happening. We oftentimes do revisit to test moving averages, right? In this case, maybe we come down and test the 20-day moving average before going higher. So patience is the name of the game here with Bitcoin. And then weekly on Cardano, as we pivot to Cardano, it's kind of the same thing. Patience is the name of the game. So before we look at the weekly, I want to point one thing out on the monthly, which is good. If you look at this monthly, the 20-month moving average, look at ADA. Really, it's doing a pretty good job of kind of seeing support at that 20-month moving average. That's a really big indicator right there. Last cycle, same thing. It held above the 20-week or 20-month moving average around this time last cycle too. You can see it wasn't tested as much as this cycle, but just above it. We wicked just above it. We held support, and then we continued on. And I'm pointing specifically this out too, because it's this part of the cycle that I'm discussing, right? Bear market, yeah, we fell below the 20-month or the 20-month moving average. Last bear market, same thing. But this move of consolidation, very in line with this move of consolidation. And that's what we're going to look at on the weekly. So that's good on the monthly. But on the weekly, it's not an immediate huge red flag, but it's definitely something I'm watching. Here's the similarities that we've tracked. The consolidation there, consolidation here. We've noted how bullish it is that this consolidation, this cycle around, here's the Bitcoin halving, happened through the halving. Last cycle, it took like months before this even started happening, right? Now, one thing to note is a lot of this move, a lot of it was kind of just sideways and up, right? All of this just below the 20-week. This move has been kind of just down, right? We haven't had so much sideways and up. But the other thing is this that I wanted to point out is last cycle, we've talked about this before, we consolidated between the 20 and the 50-week moving average. We wanted to see something similar right here this time around, and we fell below the 50-week moving average. So if we go and we look at the momentum oscillator, and this is kind of where I'm talking about a little bit of caution, and I'm very bullish on this cycle for crypto, for altcoins, for Bitcoin, for Cardano, for everything, okay? But we can never fool ourselves and just say it's a guaranteed thing. So there are indicators that I'm watching right now. And it's not like immediate concern. We have a lot of room to the upside. We actually even have more room to the upside than last cycle at this time, right? We were all the way up here, right around 50 on the RSI before taking off. And right now we're actually bouncing off of like 35 on the RSI, right? However, check this out. RSI consolidated right around to just below 50, or just around 50, 48 or so. And this is the area. And I have a red line going. And you can see that was actually kind of bear market exit resistance. There's that swing high, and then we came lower again. And right now, we fell back below that line, and ADA is just below that line on the RSI right now. So this could be a caution area, but also a bullish confirmation area. Seeing ADA get above that red line, I think, is crucial for me. And right now, if you notice, this stock RSI, quicker moving momentum oscillator, just getting this momentum out of oversold right now. Last cycle, it was just getting very similar momentum out of oversold as this move was getting started. And that was an important move for ADA because we broke back above the 20-week moving average in that moment. So this is a crucial time for ADA this cycle because we're getting the stock RSI exiting out of oversold. We're about to test this key area of resistance on the slower moving momentum oscillator, the RSI. And I would say most importantly, when we're looking at the price chart, ADA is just below these two crucial macro moving averages. The 20-week is around 49 cents, and the 50-week is literally where ADA is right now. It's just been testing the 50-week moving average. You can see even on this weekly candle, the last weekly candle, ADA has tested the 50-week moving average, and we're seeing resistance. I really would like to see ADA get above the 50-week moving average and start making some moves to the upside. If it doesn't happen, I just want to throw this out there. If we go to the daily chart, this area, it's prime for continued consolidation sideways. So there can be short-term downside right now, meaning swing low to swing high. Maybe we're putting in a higher low. And this Fibonacci that you see here, this is an area of support ADA has done a pretty good job of kind of bouncing off of, but we haven't exited the range yet. We want to see the breakout. And that breakout area is right around 46 cents. If ADA can make the move above 46 cents, approach the 200-day moving average 51 cents, this could be the pop of momentum we need, and this could be the beginning of this really strong increase in ADA price. But this Fibonacci support that you see here is the swing low back here in October to swing high, that rally that we had, and it's just back down to this area. And that's where ADA is on the daily. ADA, in my view, needs to escape this entire area, that upper trend line, this Fibonacci retracement that it's kind of seeing support off of, needs to escape that green area as quickly as possible would be nice. Right now, you see the shift, the 20-day approaching the 50, exactly what we want to see. But in those moves, oftentimes we see ADA consolidate before continuing to go higher. So I really wouldn't even be surprised if we see ADA fall back into the 30s, the higher 30s. Hopefully, we're not testing this swing low back here into the lower 30s, but it's in play. And if you look at the RSI, maybe it has to happen where ADA's falling, right? And then we're actually putting in a really nice higher low on the RSI before getting the strong move that we're waiting for and looking for. This could require patience. So that's ADA on these charts, everybody. Let's just see what happens. That's all I'm doing. I'm zooming out. I'm trying to be patient. And, we'll continue tracking the charts. Please hit the subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. Make sure you turn notifications on. I appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you're having a good day. God bless you.